This is the network service of the NTA.
It's a beautiful day, though all of us are, sad. We woke up to a bad news today. We just lost someone who is very important, a number one citizen of some sort to all of us. That's Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahir and several other people in a plane crash. It is a sad one, and we want to say, may their soul rest in peace, and may God grant the family the, ability to bear the loss. And talking about loss, sometimes in life we think we have lost something, when actually the fact is that we probably did not plan well for that thing. Or sometimes in life again, we think we have lost something, when the truth is, it is around us, we're not looking well. Some of those things happen when we do not eventually start early, plan early, and execute early. What am I running around about for? It is retirement. Retirement is something that all of us must get through. It is just like death. It is something we all long for. Someone once told me that retirement is a blessing, and if you want to say otherwise, then think about old age as well as not being a blessing. For me, it is a blessing. And retirement and pension is one story that is ever on the minds of people, one story that is always occupying the front pages, the electronic media, all of it at one point or the other, quite frequently. I don't know why. But our thrust for today is to look at pension and retirement. And we'll start from the first one, which is retirement. How do we plan for retirement? What really is retirement? And at the end of the day, how can we retire and be smiling just as I'm smiling? The program is Weekend Deal. My name is Elizabeth Abai. One thing I spotted out for some people in certain culture is when they ask you to do a toast, rather than go into long statement, you say this person was born when his mates were born. He grew up when his mates grew up. He married when his mates married. He got a job when his mates got a job. But when it gets to retirement, there's always a kind of pause. I don't know why. Is it that retirement is something we don't want? But I actually think that is something we should celebrate. I don't know, but I just told you when we started I will be doing retirement today and maybe a bit of pension, which we'll tidy up tomorrow. Now, before we get started, let's quickly take a backgrounder, get to find out what the whole outlook is like, and then we'll begin to break it down. The backgrounder now.
One of the greatest challenges that face typical employee throughout their working life is life after retirement. Retirement concerns emotional, psychological, as well as financial challenges that workers have to prepare well ahead of time.
The best time to start planning for retirement is on the first day on the job, on the new job, because everything that has a beginning must also have an end. So retirement is not a course, it's something to happily look forward to, because one day you will definitely call it quits with the work you are just enjoying at the moment. If you come into a job, you feel, retirement age here is 65 years or 60 years, I'm still 25, I have a lot of time to work here, you are making a mistake, because the job can come to an end at any time. Nobody knows.
In Nigeria, there are three major forms of retirement, namely voluntary or self-retirement, compulsory or forced retirement, and mandatory or statutory retirement. The statutory working age in Nigeria's public service is fixed at 60 years or 35 years of unbroken active working service before retirement. However, the Retirement Age Harmonization Act of 2012 puts the retirement age of judicial officers and academic staff of tertiary institutions at 70 and 65 years respectively.
That could be a problem because it can demoralize some group against and set them against the system or against the other. And you see that people who also normally want to tamper with their age in order to last longer in the job because they feel I should work longer so that I can be able to earn and take care of myself and my family. So those are some of the issues which government and the policy makers have to really review. Some job requirements requires that experience counts, but I can also tell you that experience counts in every job.
A close observation of many retirees in the Nigerian society and the challenges they are facing calls for urgent attention. These challenges include sudden loss of life, anxiety about a residential home, dwindling status, and deteriorated health condition.
Life after retirement for most Nigerians can be a nightmare because those who are even working are finding it difficult to live, talk less of people who don't have any source of income anymore. And the worst thing that can happen to a retiree is still have humongous bills to pay. You still have people in school, and you are still not in your own, living in your own house, and there are hospital bills to pay. You know, those are things that are very troubling.
In Nigeria, the delay in payment of pension and gratuity has brought untold hardship and death to many retirees, thereby making retirement something that is dreaded by workers.
How can somebody, after working for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, retire? You know the dates are set, and you must live on that day. They will happily let you go, but they won't give you anything. They know that you are not getting salary. From that next pay period, there won't be any salary for you, and you are walking out of the door empty pocket. That is wickedness of the system. They have to address it. If you don't do it, you are telling him to go and die. And it's very unfortunate. That is one wickedness that is in the system. And that is why there's so much corruption. You can't get corruption down if you don't address some of these systemic failures.
Retirement from active civil service is inevitable in the life of every public officer. It is a state that every worker must surely reach, whether he prepares for it or not.
If you are lucky to get employment at a very youthful age, start running your family immediately. Do not delay, so that when you look at the timeline you have at that job, you can be able to shoulder most of the things when you are still active. But when you delay all those things, unfortunately, it may not be your fault. You might have gotten the job late. Maybe in your late 40s, you got a job. But the most common advice is, no matter what, always save. Plan for your retirement. Ensure that you have savings. Plan what you can do. Always have option B. If living in the city can't work for you, go to a low-income neighborhood.
Weekend Deal today beams a set light on all the issues related with retirement in Nigeria.
All right, it's your Weekend Deal, and joining me in the studio are two gentlemen who are going to be doing, different things, but all towards achieving the topic of today. I personally have had to sit and get schooled by one of them, and that's Omabichi Baro. Thank you for joining us again. And he is the CEO of Learning Impacts Nigeria.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. I have actually carried my book and my pen.
Excellent.
To keep writing as you talk.
Okay.
And then I have another person seated here with me who is doing an amazing thing in Isuzu. That's the MD of Answer Technology Nigerian Limited, in the person of Ahmed Issa Nnaji. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Ahmed Sani Nnaji.
Okay. Ahmed Sani
Nnaji. Yes.
All right. So we're going to be having wonderful chats, and you get to tell us all that you're doing and how you're going to, help us infuse that in pension. But let me quickly ask.
Yes.
A lot of people are scared of retirement. Mm-hmm. Why?
Well, I think that perhaps it's because people don't plan adequately towards it. One of the great things that we teach and we learn and practice is to begin with the end in mind. So when you start work, when you start business, you must recognize that the end is that you will retire. But if you do not begin with the end in mind and start to plan and save and strategize towards the years where you will not be in active service, then there will be fear. So even coming here this morning, I took a decision to, for example, augment my retirement savings. Just thinking about and reflecting on retirement planning, I said to myself as I prepared for this program that what else can I do to make myself more comfortable in 10, 20 years from now when I would stop actively working. So I think it's about preparation, it's about planning. And if you plan and prepare properly, there's nothing to be afraid of. You should actually retire and have a life of bliss and fun and enjoyment and relaxation. And everybody deserves that after working very hard for many years.
I'm going to come back to you on that. But when we talk about retirement, the first thing that gets to our mind, and when we also talk with retired people or people about to retire, 2-3 years to the time, the first thing they tell us is when I retire, I'll take my pension money, gratuity, and move into agriculture. How does that work?
Yeah. That's where many people get it wrong. For me, planning is one of the best way for retirement. But you cannot engage in activities you don't know how to do. And that's where many people get it wrong. For a civil servant, the only what we're permitted you to do is agriculture. So for me, I believe planning for retirement will start from the first day you have your engagement letter. You engage in agricultural activities.
Okay,
so,
the minute I start, I can actually check some of the money and get. Now you're doing something in issues for your people.
Yeah.
And some of it borders around agriculture. Am I right?
Yes.
Now I need you to really speak on the energy of youth and energy of the retired doing agriculture. Is it the same?
Yeah. The youthful age is when, if you get yourself in agricultural field, you can give your best. I started agriculture when I was 18. And today, a lot of youths have engaged in my platform.
Okay.
In Zamfara State, where I base, we have thousands of people that have lived from where they are to agricultural field. In Enugu State, we replicated the same thing, especially in Isuzu. We just launched 1,200 farmers with over 2,000 hectares. We give maize for planting. We have given them all the inputs. So for me, retirement is not just for civil servants. Even me, I have started planning for my retirement.
Oh, really?
So, because on the field of agriculture, there's a day that you feel that you get back home, leave it to others to do. Mm-hmm. So I have started planning for my retirement now. In Isuzu, as you said, we have over 150,000 stand of coconuts. So I believe if I retire, those coconuts have reached age of fruiting. So I can sit back home and start
eating it.
So retirement is something that both the youths and those engaged in military or paramilitary activities, they're supposed to go back to agriculture quick. In fact, if I may advise, it became necessary for all civil servants to get at least 1 hectare of farmland, so that from then, whenever you are retiring, you are switching over. It's not that when after you get your retirement benefits, you now pull it to agriculture. You don't know technical know-how on how to put it in use. So that's why in 1-2 years, it will be left over. If you go to Abuja around Kefi, you will see many poultries, many agricultural that have been left over for long. It belongs for retirees because they don't know how to manage it. So they are not into the field before they pump a lot of money into it. In small time, there will be mismanagement.
Wow.
And they will run away. It will kill their career, and then the next thing you see is
Kill
somebody
them
with
big
high
time.
blood pressure. All this thing will be coming up. So agriculture is the only place that the law permits civil servants to engage. So it is necessary for you to engage on it early
enough.
at least 20 to 25 years before retirement. So whenever you are retiring, you are switching over. You just left where you are to go back.
So you can
to
make
your
all
main
your
place.
mistakes before
So
you finally
all the mistakes you
leave.
will collect it during that time. So it's not that after retirement you go to agriculture. That's why many people fail.
All right, now, Mr. Boro, I know that, like you said,
Yes.
legally speaking, most civil servants are allowed to do agriculture. Are there other things, because not all of us may want to go back to the life of agriculture, at the end of the day. Are there other things we can get doing, and how do we begin to recognize those things, as we still work? At the end of the day, turn it into a money spindling machine for us.
Well, there are so many things people can do. Just like he said, I think very importantly, people should try to think about what their talents are, what their aspirations are, and push for it during their youth. So do what you love, do what you are passionate about, enhance your skills, and push yourself. So not everybody can become, for example, an entrepreneur. A lot of people will be workers and employees. So if you choose to be an employee, how fast can you climb on the corporate ladder? How quickly can you grow? It's a function of your skills and your capabilities. So build your capabilities when you are young. Learn many things so that you can flourish in your career. If you decide to go the route of enterprise, then take the risk when you are younger. You know what I mean? While doing all of these, you can invest. You can invest in the financial markets, in money markets, in capital markets. It's very important. For example, he's spoken about people who are in the informal sector. Many people in the informal sector think that they will work forever. You wouldn't. So there is also the possibility now of participating in the contributory pension scheme. So first of all, everybody in the formal sector should have a pension account, and then people in the informal sector who are self-employed, who are artisans, who are professionals in specific areas and run small businesses can also contribute towards a micro pensions plan.
So as he is now, he can actually take up a PFA?
Yes, he can take up a PFA and have a micro pensions account, and so can all the thousands of farmers, whether they are in Zamfara or in Enugu as he has described, and everywhere else in the world and in Nigeria. And this is valuable, because this is the way you create what we call your nest egg, setting aside small amounts of money towards your future. Because we do not know what the future will hold. We do not know how healthy we will be. We do not know what encumbrances there will be in our lives. So it is good to take the prudent position, which is to save and invest towards that future that you do not know. And the more aggressively we save and invest towards that future, the more secure our retirement and our life in retirement will be.
My takeaway from what you just said is the need for us to recognize that which actually make us happy. For me, I want to call it my hobby, and see if I can make money out of it. Because hobbies are things you do till when you finally go to hit the Mother Earth, that you're dead. All right, so we will take a break right away, and when we come back, a lot of messages are coming in, and some of them are questions which you will need to take on. But let's see. Media practitioners are a group of people that a lot of people say we are predominantly happy. They are happy people. And a lot of times, too, we forget that we also retire. Because once a media person, you're always a media person. I will get to, find out what life is for them in retirement. But let's quickly see if we can take a message here. It says retirement in other countries is a blessing, but Nigeria it's a curse. The writer did not say why or say his name. Retirement is like old age. Most of us senior citizens prepare both financially and emotionally, but government must also fulfill their obligation. In most states, it is not so. Governors claim they have no funds, but when they complete their term, they take home millions as pensions, as salary. Truth of the matter is that another one, that many pension agencies are into scam. After years of working, time for you to reap your labor, someone in the agency had diverted your money for personal use. That's Chika Noram from Omukabia. Now, how do I begin to identify a PFA that is straight and the one that is a scam?
Every pension fund administrator licensed by the National Pension Commission is certainly not a scam. So all the PFAs are licensed, they are regulated by the National Pension Commission. Their operations and activities are guided by regulations that are and the Pension Act. It is monitored very strictly. So all of our viewers, every Nigerian should be assured that every PFA is competent. There have been issues historically, especially in the old defined benefit pay-as-you-go pension scheme, where various institutions were set up by the government as task forces to help to administer pension funds and pension schemes. And we know this is in the public space that those task forces ended up becoming the vessels of corruption themselves. And, those things had to be wound down. And that's why today we have a contributory pension scheme that is privately managed, well regulated. So people should be assured that if it is the PFAs, the pension fund custodians, all regulated by PENCOM, any of them is an absolutely good choice.
Okay, so I can always ask them, show me your certificate to be sure.
Yes, so exactly. So they are licensed. They are just about 22 or so PFAs in Nigeria. Okay. So there are not so many institutions.
All right, so I'll come back to that again. Let's quickly take this report I did promote earlier. Life of a media practitioner, Demola, is on focus today. Let's see what it is like. I'm trying to I'm a media practitioner. Let me find out what my life will be like when I retire. Let's see this.
Rest is sweet after labor, goes a saying. The desire of every worker is to retire without blemish and enjoy life in retirement. To many, this becomes a myth due to failure to plan or plan failure, as the case may be. Meanwhile, to Mr. Ademola Oladoshu, a former Deputy Director News, Nigerian Television Authority, and a veteran media personality, life after retirement has been fair and good. He owes Almighty God all gratitude, as well as his family, among others, for the grace so far.
I won't say I prepared for retirement, but I also thank God that I have a supportive wife. When I was going to retire, we was setting up our home. The woman said, look, you this man that I know you are restless. You can't come home and be sleeping, no. Let's think of what you to do. She literally forced me to build an office within our house. She said it only means wake up in the morning, eat your food, get dressed, and go there and sit down in your office. That will give you some psychological feelings.
According to him, nothing has changed since he retired on the 30th of September 2015 from the Lagos Network Center of the NTA. His normal daily routine begins at his office, where he does his reading, media consultation, and production, which are his stock in trade. This, he said, has kept him psychologically alert and balanced.
So I have not seen so much gap between when I was working and my life in retirement. Though if I want to compare what I'm earning as my monthly stipend now, it's nothing compared to. Because when I was going to retire, I said, okay, what am I going to do? I'm used to broadcasting on television. So am I now going to go into a Greek that I'm not used to? Once in a while, I do some production. People consult me for documentary, for program.
Beside media consultation, regular session in the gym, and interactions with nature through tending of garden makes life in retirement more pleasurable in the real sense of it. He maintained that sustainers of relationship with people and community service have been of immense benefit to him in retirement.
Don't cut yourself off from the people. Thank God, these are the days of ICT. I sit down in this office, I'm in Jos talking to people, I'm in Bauchi talking to people, I'm in Lagos talking to people, I'm in Enugu talking to people. We chat, I will laugh, we talk. The day is gone. And I go to bed, I sleep like a baby.
There is no cloud without a silver lining. In spite of his health challenges, God is ever faithful. He noted that if government gives geriatric care adequate attention, life in retirement will be more enjoyable.
Some of us, we're literally living on drugs. These are the drugs that if you don't take at the right time, your life is in danger. I think it is very important for government at all levels to start considering the health care of the elderly people.
Though retired, but not tired, we wish Mr. Ademola Oladoshu good health and more pleasurable years in retirement. Also, potential retirees advised to live moderately and save for a rainy day.
All right, it's nice to see people who are retired and are still very strong, and that's what I want to wish myself. I don't know what other people are wishing yourself. I see all my guests all here in the studio, seated, and right behind the feature we just saw. We've been talking about a few things, and I know that you talked about chains of agriculture, different arms of agriculture. Now, if I'm thinking of going into agriculture, I know it's not all about tilling. It's not all about the hoe and the shovel. What other arms can I go into as a retiree without necessarily stressing myself?
No, agriculture is a complete value chain from production, processing, marketing to the final consumer. So you can key into any aspect of this. Today, rice in Nigeria became a hotcake from production to consumption. Like 4 years ago or 5 years ago, there's importation of rice everywhere, where we export the job and import poverty to ourselves. But today, with the ban of importation of rice, our own rice became the best, because there's some analysis we used to do then. Bring 1 cup of foreign rice, bring 1 cup of local rice, and cook it together. You will see the differences. If you cook foreign rice today, tomorrow in the morning you cannot eat it. But our own rice, if you cook it today, it can reach 3-4 days the way it is. So the preservative they put in the foreign rice, which causes a lot of death to us, the cancer and other things. So now Nigerians have wake up, they have recognized our own production. So going to market today, you see 90 to 95% of rice we consume today is our own local made rice. So it's a complete value chain. Today, textile industry have gone into comatose before. Now CBN have put a lot of fund into production of cotton. The textile industry now, they have wake up, the production have started. So it's a value chain that you can key into. If you cannot produce, you can go for processing. If you cannot process, you can go for the marketing aspect of it.
Okay, your program now, do you have avenue where you can actually move around and educate some of us who are civil servants, public servants as well, on different arms of agriculture, just to, awaken our interest, so much so that we can begin to do them now we are still here, so that when we retire, like you said, we'll just transit.
Yeah, already we are on it. We are training many people, even in Enugu. I have a lot of training.
Including civil servants?
Yes, okay. I have a lot of training from youth to those on the job, so that they can have another source of life why there's a lot of corruption, as he said, is the civil servants, they don't know where to fall back. A teacher, for instance, that his salary is less than 40,000. You have children in school, maybe one of your child, you pay the school fees of 40,000 or more in the school, and they're having 4 or 5. You eat and you transport yourself to your working place. So tell me, how will the 40,000 sustain you without corruption? So that's why they engage in a lot of corruption. So, but to solve this problem, a civil servant supposed to have another source of life. Engage yourself in all type of agriculture, so that what you'll be getting from those places can complement whatever expenditure you are going to do, plus your salary. So that's what we have been preaching, and we have training many on especially fish farming, mechanized agriculture, and now it's not, time have passed when you will go to farm and start using hoe and other thing. Everything now is mechanized. So from what you are doing,
because I actually see your hand don't look like the hand of a farmer. You're doing mechanized agriculture.
Yes. Where I complete the value chain from production to processing to marketing.
Okay.
So we use machine in having 10,000 hectares of farmland in one place. You cannot, no human, the amount of human that will be there will be very much. So we use machine in planting, cultivation, everything we are using is now mechanized. So that's the area we are training a lot of people. Many people come for consultation. In fact, private company, we collaborate with them, we teach them, and they will follow them up to see that whatever we tell them, they finalize it, and then at the end of the day, it became a testimony.
All right, thank you very much. Now, Mr. Burrow, a lot of pensioners at the moment, scream, assuming I commit that error of not preparing on time, what can I do to salvage it when I am out of service?
Well, preventive medicine is always better than curative. So I think that whatever you can do to minimize stress in your life, whatever lifestyle choices that you can make with your health, with your relationships, with your family members, and people around you who can support you, decisions with your spirituality. As you get older, you get closer to the call, and so on and so forth. So I would generally say to people who perhaps have not made the best use of their youth, to just have a calmer life in retirement, be a better person, get closer spiritually to God, and build better relationships with people so that people can really support you. Because the alternative, some people would say, would be start up an enterprise, do some business. But you see, as you get older, those things become increasingly difficult. As we listened to the reel that happened just during the break, talking about social security and the role of government and healthcare, so lifestyle choices that you make before you retire affect your health and your livelihood in retirement. Social security systems, unfortunately, we haven't evolved very good social security in Nigeria. In fact, none at all compared to countries in Europe and America. So those are areas we should all pay attention to, recognizing that the common good of every Nigerian, including the elderly, is the common good and the prosperity of all Nigerians. And if people are over-dependent on the youthful population, if our parents and grannies and grandpas in the village and back home are pulling and tugging on us to survive, then it has an impact on our own productivity. But we must all recognize that one day we will all become grannies and grandpas. And that's why political leaders and people who are in positions of authority must create a society that takes care of everybody, especially those who are predisposed to difficulty, like older people, people who are infirm, people who are living with special needs, and people who are disabled. And these are big issues. So we who are able-bodied and have talent and have resources and have skills, we still struggle in retirement. How about those who do not have these resources.
Okay.
You
Now,
know.
retirement is not all about money. As a matter of fact, for a lot of people, they will tell you, "What am I doing with the money?" Especially if the children are out.
Exactly.
But a lot of times, again, the emotional aspect, it's what kills us most.
Yeah.
How do we begin to address that to ensure that we live a happier life? Briefly, this time around.
Yeah. So I would just, like I said earlier, just building better relationships with people, being in good books with everybody around you
while you're still working,
and networking, and that's very important. And thank God for digital technology, the ability to stay in touch with your family, with your friends, with your old girls and your old boys, because it is through those convivial relationships that people can stay happy, stay connected, and stay alive and enjoy their lives in retirement.
All right, thank you so much. I wish I had more time to speak with you, but it's been amazing, talking. Somebody is asking where you are really from. I just replied a person. I said he is a Nigerian and he is a concerned citizen to ensure that we all do well. It's been wonderful speaking with you, the MD Answer Technical Nigeria Limited. That's Ahmed Sani Naji, thank you for coming. And you too as well, Mr. Burrow. That's what I called you. Okay. Wheelbarrow, you told me.
Exactly.
Wheelbarrow. Okay. CEO, Learning Impacts Nigeria, Mr. Omabishi Barrow. Thank you for coming.
Pleasure as well.
And at this point, we'll take a break, pay some bills. When we come back, we will continue. Don't go away. Okay, earlier on we saw a retired media worker, media practitioner in his retirement status in life. And I sitting down here, I envied him. And I kept wondering about other people, life after retirement, what really happens. All right, someone did a beautiful package and is trying to educate us on the life and times of retirement. That's Charles Obike. Thank you very much for.
Life after retirement goes beyond becoming a senior citizen in Nigeria.
When you retire, to get your money at the appropriate time, it takes a longer time. That one affects most of the senior citizens. Because when you are serving, the salary is nothing to write home about. Talk less of saving some after your retirement. But now let them pay the civil servant, the retired civil servant on time.
Honestly speaking, we still lack of so many things behind compared Nigerians to other advanced countries. Some of even active workers, they don't get paid the way expected to be. Talk less of the senior citizens which have worked, have served the countries enough. After the retirement, you see some of them moving up and down there and there to even get their benefit. They find it difficult of getting it, and what causes it is the system.
Characterized by the notion of mixed feelings, many retirees face nightmares associated with comparable pension schemes, social security, health insurance support, and ability to adapt to moderate lifestyle.
So how has it been after years of retirement?
Yeah, that's been good. You can see it from the way I'm looking. So no more stress, nothing. No more that I want this memo now, go and prepare it. You'll be cracking your brain. Anytime I wake up, I do my readings, I do my prayer, and I'm living very fine.
The systems needs to be reviewed. After you serve the country, it should be you that serve to determine how your money, how your pension be being paid to you, not them be determined for you. It is not good.
Retirement reminds people that life is much more meaningful than initially thought.
After working, if you really work seriously and honestly with NTA, you will agree with me that you will look forward to retirement. I look forward to it since like a holiday. Though after the initial 1 year, I became bored again. You understand? Initially, I was looking forward to retirement for a rest. You don't have to wake up very early. You don't need to do the. You don't have series of things to do in the office. You must be at work. In fact, with NTA, it's more or less 24-hour service. So now you are lord of your time.
The memories of past success, failures, and shortcomings, work experience, past colleagues, and ambitions are often a reflection for character adjustment.
I go to mass every morning. After that, I go for a walk. I do exercise for an hour and then have my breakfast. And I'm an artist, so I love art. The day I feel like, I just go visiting. And one of my hobbies is photography. Now I've just developed that interest of photography. So taking shots and developing it and treating it, it's another excitement for me. So more or less that's what I do. By the time you retire, you see the amount you are paid is so little that if you are not a kind of person that like say cut your coat according to your cloth, from day one. If you are not carried away, if you live above your income at retirement, you may run into that challenge. But even with that, you just discover that the little amount, because as you grow older, you may require some drugs, you require some extra attention.
Embracing change for moral and spiritual value are attributes of age and wisdom that exude positive comfort and a happy life of retirement.
All right, it is still Weekend Deal, and I told you that when we return, we'll be meeting my guest. Today is a special person for me. He is a senior citizen. He is the president of Nigerian Union of Pensioners, and his name is Godwin Abun Isi. I am the head and not the tail. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, how are you enjoying your retirement, sir?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm enjoying it because let me start with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Section 173(1) says that pension is a right, not a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
Many governors treat pension as if it was a privilege, not a right. They can tell the pensioners, I won't pay, and they won't pay, and they won't pay. And the federal government will do nothing about it because it is a violation of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Section 1732 says this right cannot be manipulated in such a way that it is to the detriment of the retiree, that the right cannot be manipulated or treated to his disadvantage. That's section 1732. Then section 1733 says pensions shall be reviewed every 5 years or with the federal government review of his own worker's salary, whichever is earlier. That means that if you have increased pension in 2010, whether the federal government reviews salaries of workers or not, you have to review again in 2015.
But that's just for the DBS.
DBS.
Okay, not the contributory.
Not the contributory.
Okay.
And the last time their pensions were reviewed was 2010, before this one of 28th of April 2021, was 2010. In 2015, we asked for another review. The federal government refused. And that was not paid until this one of 28th of April 2021. So we even have a doubt. A circular has come in, but we have a doubt whether That is what we should have gotten if pensions were reviewed in 2015. But they were not. So, with the publication of this circular for consequential adjustment of the pensions of retirees, it is for the pensioners something like suffering and smiling. So because our pensions were not reviewed in 2015. So that is that.
All right. Beyond the monetary aspect of it, somebody wrote in here. Maybe I should ask the question. Reading out this is Olawanju or Olusegun. He says, "When you retire properly is when you plan, and a reader is a leader. So that we should not keep our brains empty, and that if you're half-baked, it shows even after retirement. We must eat moderately, exercise every day to keep ourselves, healthy in retirement." So I'm moving a little bit from the money aspect of it to ask, because you may have retired, but from the time you walked into the studio, I was looking at you. I said, "Is this man the man I'm supposed to interview?" Because he looks very strong. So, and you've been quoting a lot about the Constitution. I'm like, Elizabeth, wake up. What do you know about Constitution? You are retired. Your brain is still active. How are you still building that in?
Well, when I was young in the college, I played football. I did a lot of boxing.
Boxing?
Yes.
Wow, like...
Yes. I was interested in it so much.
You still do that?
Huh?
You still do a little bit of boxing now?
Yeah. Well, I do what they call shadow boxing.
Oh, okay.
I still do exercises.
That's good to know.
So that keeps me healthy. And I advise many of our pensioners to do daily workouts to keep themselves healthy. Exercise does a miracle to the body, but many people don't realize it. But in Enugu, there are exercises now. If you go to where they call Okpara Square.
Okpara Square,
yes,
okay.
On daily basis, you see people there.
The retirees gather to exercise.
The retirees are there too. Those who are not retired are there too. They are exercising. And when you are exercising the brain, you're exercising the body, you're exercising the heart, you're exercising your bones and everything. So exercise is very, very important.
All right, that's a good one. And what about the feeding parts?
The feeding part is not okay. Reason, in Nigeria, we don't pay a living wage. We just sit down at the negotiating table and say, rent, 3,000 naira or 15,000 naira. You can hardly get a house for 15,000 naira as rent. So that is not a living wage. Overseas, in America and Europe, they pay living wage. I listened to the program when somebody was saying you have to prepare for retirement. How do you prepare for retirement? When you come back home with your salary, you pay rent, feeding. After feeding, the money is finished. Then the child comes back from school and say, "Daddy, you have not paid my school fees." And the teacher says, "I cannot take the exam tomorrow because I have not completed the payment." And the man will begin to run around to borrow money to pay for the school fees. Then you come and tell him, save. Save from where? Unless you're advising him to dip hands into his employer's money and steal it and begin to save. So before workers begin to save in this country, you must begin to pay a living wage so that at the end of the month, they have a balance to save. So that is that.
That's I don't know, a big way of, putting it. it's a lot of a lesson for us, learn to, work and save. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but all the same, so I'd like to know from you, a living example of what a strong retired person in Nigeria is. How were you able to do your own savings?
My wife was very, very strong.
I like the way you started. They say behind every successful man. I've been waiting for this angle.
Very, very early, around 1980, she opened up a poultry farm. And that poultry farm sustained us. She works, I work. But she was interested in having a poultry farm. She also opened up fishery.
Poultry
in our
and
backyard.
fishery. Wow.
We dug a place, cemented it, and we went to Utwacha Aguleri to get some fingerlings. And we were doing that. We were also doing some small-scale farming, not the mechanized one that you were talking about. So we were just supporting ourselves with that. But the problem is that when people are working, they are promised that when they retire, they will be paid their gratuity and pension. Up till now, you may find that in some states, in many states of this country, people who retired in 2020, in 2000, have not yet gotten their gratuity. In many states, do an investigation. You find that this is true. Those who retired in the year 2000 have not collected their gratuity.
That's right. 2000.
2000. And
That's 21 years after?
Yes, and the pensioners. In some states, they have only paid up to 2009. So these are the problems. If when a man retires, you pay him his gratuity and you begin to pay him his pension, then he will sit down with the family and say, this bulk money, how do we manage it so that it can sustain us for a very long time? Okay. That is not the case. But in the civilized countries, before you step out, the money is already in your bank account. Mm-hmm. And from time to time, they come to your home and see how you are doing, how you are managing yourself. If they find out that you are sick, they take you to hospital. But not in this country. You are abandoned. The pension won't come as only the federal government pays pension. That is PITAD, pays pension as appoint you. The state governments don't pay. Only very few of them. And during the last NDC, National Delegates Conference we had on the 21st and 22nd of April, we honored those governors who are paying. We honored them. But many of them, only about 4 of them or 5 of them.
Okay, out of 36.
Out of 36.
It's a sad
story. What are the 31?
It's a sad story. Well, presenter, somebody wrote in here, presenter, please help me appreciate the president of pensioners for yet being strong. And the federal government should monitor pension scheme, especially now that things are hard. That's Umar Edekudu, journalist from Nasarawa State. Thank you very much. And I must say thank you for coming on the show, sir.
Thank you.
It's amazing how strong you have been and how strong you're still waxing. I've seen all your itinerary and the things you're still planning to do. It makes us happy. You are, for me, someone I'll look up to because I want to even be stronger than you when I'm your age.
God will help you.
God will help me, right?
God will help you.
Okay. And then it's still from your story, you know, I want to give kudos to women, especially producer and director. I know you're male. Forgive me, but I must thank women who are supporting their husbands, because if we build together, you know, we're able to save. If a collation of the funds that come in, don't need it by money. It's not your money. With that, we call it a day for today. Join us tomorrow. We'll be discussing even more on pension and this time around stressing more on the money angle of it. All right, retirement is a time to spread your tentacles, spread your wings, fly high, because you don't need to set alarm to wake up. So let's enjoy it. Bye for now.